that's more useful than
Yes.
big group.
Good evening and welcome to the North Metro Mayors Association Legislative Candidate Forum. Thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Lori Higgins. I am the moderator for this evening's forum, as well as the president of the Metro North Chamber of Commerce, a community partner in the North Metro Mayors Association. The North Metro Mayors Association was created in 1987 as a nonpartisan organization advocating for issues and opportunities of importance to the North suburban region of the Twin Cities. Our goal in sponsoring tonight's Legislative Candidate Forum is to provide residents with an opportunity to learn about the candidates' ideas and positions on issues that we believe are important to the future of our communities in the North Metro region. Only one candidate for House District 31A is able to attend tonight's forum, so Harry Niska will be given an opportunity to answer the 4 prepared questions. So thank you again for being a part of tonight's forum. You will now have 2 minutes for an introductory statement, and then we will get started with the questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Lori, for moderating. Thank you to the North Metro Mayors Association, first of all, for the work that you do to advocate for our area, including down at the Capitol, for the resource you are, to me down at the Capitol, and for organizing this forum. As you know, my name is Harry Niska, and it's my honor to represent House District 31A at the state capitol, an area where I've lived almost my entire life. I grew up in Western Andover, went to Anoka High School, and currently live with my wife and our 3 kids. Well, one is in college, but we live in Ramsey. And I've spent, like I said, almost my entire life in the area that's now House District 31A. Outside of the legislature, I'm an attorney representing individuals and businesses, advising them on how to navigate the legal landscape, representing them in court when disputes arise. I stepped forward and ran, and I'm running for re-election because, like most Minnesotans, I want government that empowers all of us, not a government that controls us. I want government that keeps us safe, treats us fairly, and leaves us free. Instead, for the last 2 years, I had a front row seat to one-party government that exploded the size and scope of state government by growing state spending by a shocking 40% in one budget cycle, expanding government mandates and regulations in every area of our life and in the economy, and even efforts to regulate your speech and beliefs, like a bias registry to collect up speech that bureaucrats don't like, and intrusion into your religious freedom. But I didn't just sit back and watch. I stood up, asked tough questions, and was even able to push back and turn back some of the worst of the Democrats' policy mistakes. I'm hopeful that as a state we can have a course correction. We must, and if we do it right, we can have a state government that empowers you, not government bureaucrats, activists, and even criminals. But it's going to take a large effort in this election, and that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we will go to our prepared questions. There is a 2-minute time limit for the answer. So question 1, Mr. Niska. What are the top 1 or 2 issues you hear while campaigning? And if elected, what will you do to ensure that the 2025 legislature works in a collaborative way with the governor and the community to address those issues?
Well, thank you. The 2 biggest things I hear when I'm out talking to people are concerns about how people are going to afford their lives and how we're going to keep our communities safe. Family budgets are stretched. Energy costs, grocery costs, healthcare costs are all increasing. And meanwhile, we had a historic surplus, and the Democrats in total control spent it all by growing the size of government, including almost $1 billion being spent to build a palace for politicians. The office that I had last year is being torn down to build something even more grand and grandiose. And to make matters worse, the Walz administration allowed billions to be defrauded because they didn't want to ask tough questions of organizations that they perceived to be their political supporters. Instead of giving us back that surplus, Democrats actually raised taxes and put Minnesota on an unsustainable path. So we need to reduce the size and weight of government on our economy in order to help Minnesotans better afford their lives. We also need to make sure our communities are safe. We have a recruitment and retention crisis in law enforcement driven and created by radical anti-police rhetoric from leftist politicians. We need instead tougher penalties for violent crime, and we need transparency for sentencing and bail decisions by prosecutors and judges. So we end the catch and release that is resulting in preventable repeat offenses like what we've seen even just recently with a repeat drunk driver who plowed into folks at the Park Tavern. We also have a border crisis that's driven significantly by what's happening in Washington, by the Biden-Harris administration's border policies, but it's worsened in the state of Minnesota by the Democrats' continued choices to make Minnesota a magnet for illegal immigration by giving away benefits like free health care and free college to those who are breaking our immigration law. So we need to turn back the tide on those policies as well to make Minnesota's communities safe.
Thank you, Mr. Niska. Question 2. Describe your view of local and regional transportation infrastructure needs. Do you believe additional state funding for transportation is necessary? If so, what sources of increased revenue would you consider supporting?
Well, thank you. And this is definitely an area where the North Metro mayors do a good job of advocating for transportation infrastructure. Of course, transportation is an essential function of state government, and it's an area where there is bipartisan agreement, and there has been bipartisan work done, especially by those from Anoka County, to advocate for it. For a long time, Anoka County has been left behind in the metro area in transportation investment. It has been throughout my growing up in this area, but recently we have made some good progress, including in my area. I, like many others, are frustrated by the delays caused when I'm trying to navigate around the construction on Highway 10, but it's going to be a really important long-term benefit for our area. Looking toward the future, there is a lot more work to be done, including the Highway 47 running through Ramsey. That road runs right past where we live, and there are a number of pretty dangerous turns that hopefully we can get straightened out in the not too distant future. That's something that the state should invest in, and maybe someday we'll even see that Ramsey-Dayton river bridge crossing that has been talked about for so many years. It's well past time for that to happen as well. In terms of additional funding, the state certainly has enough money. The people of Minnesota are taxed enough already, especially with the new tax hikes that have come. So I think that it's important that we prioritize our spending better, but we do need to make sure we prioritize transportation infrastructure.
Thank you, Mr. Niska. Question 3. This community is part of a global marketplace that competes for business and talent. What policies would you support to help retain and attract businesses and talent to the region?
Well, that's an important question, obviously. I'm very concerned about the future economic competitiveness of Minnesota. It's so important not only to provide us all opportunities, but the state of Minnesota can only spend the money that's generated by the economic engine of Minnesota. And we do have to compete in a global marketplace. We need to develop and attract both sides of the equation, both business and talent. Both of those things have to work together, and we need both of them to work right. But the business environment is getting worse in Minnesota. We have sky-high tax rates, including some of the highest business taxes in the entire country. We have a stifling regulatory environment, too long of a permitting process, and we have energy that's becoming more costly and less reliable. We need responsible budgeting to keep our taxes down. We need smarter regulations and permitting reform, clear rules and timelines that will allow businesses to feel confident that they can start or grow in Minnesota. And we need an all-of-the-above energy policy instead of the misguided policy we've been pursuing of just banning important, like most of our core energy and hoping that someday the technology will come online to replace it. Energy is absolutely essential to every one of our lives. It's essential when you plug in your iPhone or your computer, or when you try to get to work or go to the grocery store where most of that food was produced using energy, or definitely brought to the grocery store using energy. It's important to our current businesses, and it's especially important to the businesses of the future, artificial intelligence and cloud computing and those things. If Minnesota is going to compete, we have to do that. Education and workforce training has been a strength in Minnesota in the past, but we're lagging in that area as well. More and more money is being spent, but the focus has been on growing bureaucracy and pushing leftist ideology on our kids instead of empowering them by teaching them reading, math, and the skills to compete in the global economy. And that's where we need to put the priorities.
Thank you, Mr. Niska. Our final question for this evening is as follows. Recently, legislation like the Missing Middle Housing Bill has been proposed at the state capitol, which would drastically restrict city zoning authority on certain housing issues while favoring state-mandated regulations. What role do you feel city government should play in determining local housing decisions?
Well, first of all, Minnesota absolutely has a housing shortage. We just aren't building enough homes in Minnesota, and that's causing many young families to feel like they're missing out on the American dream of home ownership. We also have a form of government in our country where we hold our governments accountable, where we expect our governments to be representative of the people. And the fact of the matter is, the best, most accountable, most representative government usually happens at the city level. And for that reason, I'm skeptical of efforts to transfer power from those local accountable government units and give them to bureaucrats, whether we're talking about bureaucrats in St. Paul or on the Met Council. As Abraham Lincoln said, we should be government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And I think we can accomplish both of those things at the same time, because most of the housing problem isn't because of zoning decisions made at the local level, although sometimes local governments do overstep the law and need to be held accountable for that. But most of the housing problem is actually caused by state regulation and by regulation at the Met Council. It costs thousands of dollars more to build the exact same house in the Twin Cities metro area as it costs just across the river in Wisconsin. And we need to look at the regulations that are driving that problem. We should be reconsidering those state regulations, the creeping power of the Met Council and other bureaucrats in St. Paul, those totally unaccountable and organizations that are wielding policy-making power, before we start taking power away from the city governments that are accountable to the people. That's why, for example, I offered a bill to eliminate the Met Council and turn it back into a limited body like what we see in other metropolitan areas, or what the Met Council originally started out as. So absolutely, we do need to deal with the housing problem. The solution or the proposal of trying to take over city zoning authority and send it to St. Paul is the wrong approach.
Thank you. This is the end of our questions for this forum. We will now go to the closing statement from House District 31A candidate Harry Niska.
Well, thank you again. Thank you, Lori, for your part in moderating this. Thank you to the North Metro mayors. Thank you to all of those in House District 31A who have entrusted me to represent you these last 2 years, and I hope for the opportunity to do it again. You know, Minnesota voters have an important choice in this election. We've seen the results of one-party Democrat control in our state, and they're not good. The choice that's before Minnesota voters is between government that controls more of your life and government that empowers you to live your best life. The Democrats' agenda has been more censorship, more mandates, more regulation, more taxes and spending, empowering bureaucrats, activists, criminals, and fraudsters. There's a better way. A future of Minnesota where you're empowered to live your best life, to pursue free thought and free speech. Kids and parents empowered to take control of their education. Families empowered to pursue the American dream. Farmers empowered to feed Minnesotans and the world. Workers and opportunity creators empowered to lead Minnesota's economy into the future. That's the choice, government that controls you or government that empowers you. And that's the agenda I'm bringing to St. Paul, the empowerment agenda that empowers you. That's what I'm running to do. That's what I've been trying to do at the legislature, and I hope to earn your vote to continue to do that work in St. Paul. Thank you.
Thank you. This brings us to the close of this forum. We would like to thank our candidate, the North Metro Mayors Association, the City of Andover, and QCTV for making tonight's event possible. Please remember to vote on or before Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Thank you.